This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. We are here in Las Vegas and I'm joined by trainer Johnathon Banks. Jonathan, firstly, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you giving up some time today. Massive fight for yourself and the team on Saturday night. Gennady Golovkin attempts to win the third bout in this trilogy series with Saul Canelo Alvarez. Firstly, Jonathan, how's camp gone?
Camp is over, but it went great. Um, and we're looking forward to Saturday night.
I've asked everybody who's kind of in the top table, shall we say, heading into this fight about how personal this is for Saul Canelo Alvarez. You work with Gennady Golovkin, you're his trainer. How personal is this on Gennady's side?
Not personal at all. It's just business.
What have you made of Saul's comments that he wants to end Gennady's career?
Nothing. I mean, it was words on. They words. Words don't mean nothing to me. You know. So I'm sorry I can't get no great reaction, but words don't mean nothing. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He still got to come in and do it. So let's see what he do. But it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna end his career. But sound like nice words to say, and it's a fight. I mean, I expect him to say a lot of violent stuff because it's gonna be a violent fight. So
The first two fights were close, one being a draw, one being a majority decision in Canelo's favour. But at least one of them, if not both, there's a case for obviously Gennady to have been successful in those fights. Do you have any concerns if this fight was to go to the judges? Do you have any concerns on the scoring?
only concern I have is we talked to the Las Vegas Police Department. They're gonna be in the building just in case any robberies take place, and they're gonna arrest the robbers. So whoever, no, but I don't. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about having my fighter outwork his opponent. That's it. We just going to work, and if he can outwork his guy, in the eyes of the people, G won the fight, and he's the people's champion. Who's better champion to be than the people's champion? So I have no issue with it.
What does Gennady have to do to be successful on Saturday night then, Jonathan?
Just outwork his opponent. That's it. He outwork him, he'll be successful.
Heading into this fight, there's been quite a few people who have suggested that they favour Saul Canelo Alvarez quite heavily because of the gap between the second to the third fight. Obviously, Gennady's gotten a little bit older now. People reading into the opening rounds of the Murata fight where they've suggested again maybe that Gennady looked a little old and his age was catching up with him despite the end result. Is it a surprise to you that people are favouring Canelo a lot more heavily in this fight than what they were the previous two bouts?
Nothing surprised me. It's again, 90%. These are fans. They just fans of the sport. That don't mean they know the sport. They're just fans of the sport. And like, I love the boxing fans. But that's their opinion. I don't think nothing about it because, you don't fight off people's opinion. You fight. You go in the camp. You get in shape, and that's what you fight off of, your condition. You don't fight off opinions, you fight off of your condition. So he's in good condition, and that's what he go fight off of. To me, that's all that matters.
Saul's obviously been, I don't want to say emotional, but he certainly had a fair few words to say and directed towards Gennady Golovkin in the build-up to this. For Gennady, does he read anything into those comments in the slightest?
No, this is just business. He know people go say whatever they want to say. But at the end of the day, for him, it's just business. He hadn't heard everything. So it's not going to make him no difference. It's just business.
I know you said regardless of, well, I say regardless, but if the scoring was to go against him despite how he performs on the night, he could be looked at as a people's champion. But for himself, to have it on his record that he finally had a victory over Canelo Alvarez because of how this rivalry is built up, what would that mean to him? Have you guys spoken about that?
I mean, it would mean I know it would mean a lot because that's what he wants. But if you're denied because of someone's opinion, what can you do about it? It's just one of them things you got to walk away as the people's champ again. You got to continue to be the people's champ. You can be the people's champ and the world champion, or you could just be the people's champion. G love his fans. He love fight fans, so he don't mind being the people's champion.
I know you can't say on Canelo's side, but obviously Canelo's coming in on the back of the loss to Dimitri Bivol. Gennady has his most recent victory against Ryota Murata, but he has those two defeats previously to Canelo. Who do you feel is more motivated heading into this fight? And I know you'll say Gennady, but what in particular about Gennady's made him feel that extra sense of motivation?
I think both fighters are equally motivated. I don't think one is more motivated than the other. Both fighters are equally motivated.
How would you summarise the Canelo-Golovkin rivalry, Jonathan?
One of the biggest in the sport. They spent, what, 24 rounds together? So they know each other very well. And they about to go for another 12. This is another historic rivalry in the sport. This is why the sport continues to grow. And I think on the backs of Canelo and Triple G, the sport is going to grow 10 feet, 10 more feet on Saturday night.
The comments on Gennady's age and maybe suggestions that he's slowed down a little bit, what are your thoughts on those?
I don't have any. It's people's opinions, like I said.
Just before we move on from that topic then of Canelo-Golovkin, Jonathan,
I mean, I don't have an issue with the words or the questions. I just don't have nothing to say about it. The thing about boxing is everybody have an opinion about it, but very few have even taken steps to actually do it. So, to me, does everybody's opinion, do they know what they're talking about? I mean, it's safe to assume that because you're older, because if you go off the history of boxing, when guys hit that 40 mark, they on the downslide. That's what they're going off of. But every once in a while, you get a guy, who's a guy 45 years old, the oldest heavyweight to this day to regain the title was George Foreman. He was 45. Was he too old? Everybody said he was, but he still won the world title and knocked out young Michael Moore. You know, certain fighters can perform at a later age. Bernard Hopkins is one of them. He was able to perform at a high level at a late age. So I think G's one of them guys that can perform at a later age. It's not even late. This is 40. He's not 45. This is 40. You know? So, yes, it's a little late, but it ain't as late as they're making it out to be. They say, oh, he's old. I mean, he's not 50. He just turned 40. So,
what is Gennady's motivation then in terms of his career and what he wants to go on to achieve? Because he's done so much in the sport and he's achieved an incredible amount. So what more does he want to do? What drives him on to continue to want to be successful within boxing?
competition, his desire. He have a desire to fight. And when you have a guy with a desire, come on, man, that's what he wants. He have a desire to fight. And that's what he wants to do. And as long as he's showing me that he can do it, I'm with him.
What is your prediction for Gennady on Saturday night? I know you're going to back him, but
Why wouldn't I back him? Like, I have to. Like, yeah, I wouldn't, honestly. I wouldn't train him if I didn't think he had a chance of winning. Honestly, I wouldn't.
would you think it's one which goes the distance?
I think it's a strong possibility it'll go the distance. I'm giving it 70-30 distance.
Moving away from that one, just go back to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, you had Badou Jack out there. A very close fight, Jonathan. Just reflect on his performance for him.
I don't think it was more ugly than close. It was an ugly style. The guy he was fighting, there's a lot of holding and hitting that it wasn't. It was nothing said about it. But I'm like, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, what we work on is get the victory. Let's work on everything else next. He got the victory. Now we got time to work on whatever else we need to work on.
There were some critics on that fight who felt that maybe his opponent could have got the rub of the green and got the decision on the night. What did you make of those comments?
I didn't even read them. I don't make nothing of them. I don't read comments because the only opinions matter is the one in my head. That's the only thing that matters to me. So I don't read comments. Nothing against the fans. Keep commenting, keep writing, but I just like, for me, I'm too busy to just sit back and read all comments. Like, I got stuff to do, you know, so I can't let other people's opinion dictate anything I do. So that's what it is.
Just a couple more quick ones then. He's obviously on the undercard of Usyk-Joshua too. What did you make of that fight and Anthony's performance?
I guess he did what he could. So I'm not, he did what he could. He stood there and He had some good work to the body. Didn't keep it going, but I thought, I guess he just. I know it was a disappointing night for him, and I understand it. But I mean, I'm sure he was disappointed because he looked like he was out there to go for a victory. So Usyk did a good job by moving and boxing him.
Fury-Joshua is being spoken about now. What would be your thoughts if that one was to go ahead? And would you advise Anthony to take that fight?
I mean, it's a fight. He's the fighter. As long as you still active fighting, you take any fight. If it's a big fight, why not? He's all about big time fights, so why not take it? I don't see a reason why he wouldn't take it or shouldn't. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't take it.
How would you see that fight playing out if it was to be rubber stamped?
That would be a tough fight for on both sides. Fury would he would really have to do a lot of boxing because Joshua's strong and he got a lot more body to hit than Usyk. So it's just gonna be it'll be a tough fight on both sides.
Right, Jonathan, I know you've got to shoot off now, so I appreciate your time. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.